Accidentally proving the Aether is real, I go through the portal and am left to survive in the sky dimension. This is Minecraft Tales of the Aether. When I got through the portal, I found a book of lore in my inventory. I had no clue what it did. I started punching trees and got skyroot logs. After getting some wood, I found this weird bird thing. I didn't know if it was friendly, but so far I seemed okay. I went and crafted a skyroot pickaxe and went and found some stone. This was called holy stone, and I made some tools. As I was chopping more wood, I noticed a ginormous flying whale go right by. He seemed very peaceful though. I then found this vortex that was spitting out random resources, maybe from the overworld, and then there was this guy in the sky who was shooting snowballs at me, but he was missing. I went and took a look at the animals, and I found a really fat sheep, and he just launched himself in the air. And he was falling very slowly. I went to go see what ores I could find, and I found this new stone, and it turned out to be ice stone. I tried crafting things with it, but I couldn't figure out any recipes, so I just got a few and stopped mining it. While I was mining stone, I noticed I was getting these ambrosium shards, but once again, I couldn't figure out what to do with them. This cloud guy was annoying me, and I tried swinging at him, but he just dipped. I saw these really cool trees high up, and I saw they had special blocks on them, but I couldn't figure out how to get up there, so I just left it alone. And then I watched one of these majestic whales get stuck in a cloud. I thought all the birds were friendly until I got shot by a random arrow, and my vision went super weird. Everything was good though once I found some blueberries and got to full health. Hopefully those would be enough to last me until day 2. Starting off day 2, I found this cloud and figured out that I could break the blocks, and it turns out they maybe jump really high. They also stopped fall damage, so I figured these would be useful in the future. I noticed the flying cows were very attracted to my blueberries, so I gave them a couple and well, they made a baby. I was getting more blueberries and I randomly got knocked back by something, and I think it was the snowball from the cloud thing, which didn't seem too bad. But now at least I know what they do. I found this pink ore, but my pickaxe was too weak, and then I finally took down one of these bird things, but they only dropped feathers. I found a new ore I haven't seen before, but it turned out just to be the ambrosium shards that I already had. I then found this sand, which I picked up, and it turned out to be quick soil, and when I hopped on it, I just slid right off. This would be a problem in the future, and you'll see why. This tree looked really cool, and I tried mining it, but it just dropped the same skyroot logs. This flower thing spawned right in front of me, and it turned out it wasn't friendly, so I took it down, and I got some sort of petal. I had a feeling it would be useful for something at least. I decided to test out my theory of stopping fall damage with cloud blocks, and it worked perfectly. Except I had to remember to stay shifted until I got out of the block, and then I was good. I searched around a bit more and found a purple ore, and this one I could mine. I looked at it and it was called Zanite, and it turns out I could make a pickaxe out of it, and this pickaxe did let me mine the pink ore. I picked it up, and this ore turned out to be called gravitite. I mined a lot more of it to see what I could make with it. But I didn't have anything to smelt the ores with, so right now it was pretty much useless. I needed to get off the main island, so I set out to build all the way over. It was risky, but I ended up making it to the other side. And here is where I almost died by sliding off the quick soil. Note to self, do not go on that on the edge. This island seemed to have a lot more zanite, so I mined all of it that I could. I found more zanite, and it turns out you could make a chestplate and weapons out of it. When I was exploring, I saw an island that looked like it had some sort of structure on it, but when I looked closer it was just trees, but they looked different. And then after that I came really close to dying, but overall I'm looking good going into day 3. I started off by failing to hit a snowball back to that cloud thing, and then I noticed a block up there that looked different. But when I got there, I tried mining it for so long, but it just wouldn't break. I looked for some sort of entrance, but I only found golden trees on the top. I mined all around, but I couldn't find any entrance. But I did end up finding some more zanite and made some more armor. But after a long search, I found the entrance to the dungeon, and there was some fire creature inside. But being me, I went up and tried hitting it, and it didn't do anything. I tried breaking the netherrack, but still nothing happened, and I just got set on fire. I feel like there was something I was supposed to do before taking down the dungeon, so I just went exploring. And that's when I came across a ginormous structure in the clouds, and this black vortex, which in hindsight, was a bad idea. And then I thought of another idea. I knew these portal things spit out random items from the overworld, and I was really hoping it would spit out cobblestone so I could make a furnace. While I was searching for more vortexes, I came across a pretty handsome looking green sheep. I didn't really know what he did, but he was pretty cool. Eventually, I found a vortex, and sure enough, it started spitting out cobblestone. I waited around until it spit out enough cobblestone, and I picked up enough to be able to craft a furnace. My theory was that if I made a furnace, I could smelt the pink ore I have, and it didn't work, so I guess I was going to need something else. And you know how it goes, more dangerous sky bridging, but I live on the edge. I found another floating island with one of those dungeons, but obviously I couldn't take that down. and I came across a dark variation of one of the bird things, and I assumed it would attack me, but it actually didn't, so at least I got 2 feathers. Not having a full set of armor bothered me, so I mined enough Zanite to make all tools and armor. But somehow without the helmet, I had this many armor bars, and then when I put on the helmet, I lost 2 full armor bars. I don't know who is responsible for that, but someone has some explaining to do. I finished off with coming back to the Sky Temple in preparation for day 4. It looked very intimidating, but I think I could take it down. This would be the first structure I've actually explored. Hopefully, we'll make it out alive in day 4. Before going to the Sky Temple, I really needed to do something. I needed to find out what these trees were all about. So I did some more dangerous sky bridging and made my way over to these trees. And when I mined the leaves, they gave me white apples. I got a lot of them since I didn't really feel like coming back here. And when I ate one, well, my vision turned all green, and I didn't know what was happening. It didn't seem like it did anything though, so I guess it wasn't a bad thing. There was also something I really wanted to try out, but first I had to get rid of this thing, and I got another petal from it. Unfortunately, the thing I wanted to try out was the sacrifice of a sheep, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. I tried getting the fat one, and he just jumped, so I waited for him, and unfortunately, he also did not drop anything, but their sacrifices would be remembered. It was time to take down the Sky Temple. I built all the way up and made my way to the entrance. The temple was on a ton of cloud blocks, and I was really curious to see if I could even stand on them. I didn't want to try, but eventually I just went for it, and it turns out you just sink right to the bottom, but you can stand. I tried mining the pillars, and sure enough, well, I got a pillar. But I tried mining the other blocks and they didn't break. When I got there was a chest, but when I opened it, it just started attacking me. I was hoping for some cool loot, but nothing dropped. Pretty much every chest I opened attacked me, and I mean literally every single chest I opened. It was probably about 6. But eventually, I found a chest with loot in it. It had golden darts, which I didn't know what they did, but I grabbed them anyways, and ambrosium torches. I was walking through some room, and I think I set off a trap that spawned some warrior. I got a chat message saying they weren't going easy on me, so I had to take her down. I ended up getting a victory medal, but it didn't do anything. I tried clicking on it, but nothing happened. I went to the second story and found a whole nother chest room. I got a golden dart shooter from this chest. I didn't know what this did, so I grabbed it, and I started shooting darts at the wall. I spent a few seconds trying to figure out why the sound sounded like I was getting damaged, but I let it go. I tried testing out the dart shooter on the warrior girl, and that really did not work out. So I resorted to the good old-fashioned sword. I found a few more unique items in the chest, such as different darts, a moa egg, a music disc, and even a bucket of skyroot poison, which I really was curious to see what happened. I tried drinking it, but I decided that really wasn't a good idea. And I also somehow thought this would work, but she didn't drink the poison. I then found some throne room where I talked to apparently the Valkyrie Queen. She requested to fight, and naturally I said yes, but I needed 10 victory medals first, so I got those. I came back and talked to her again. I told her I wanted to fight again, and she said I have the medals, so I'm all good. And we started our fight. The Valkyrie Queen had an insane amount of health. From the beginning, I had a really good rhythm going, and she wasn't really attacking me. I kept hitting her out of the air, until I tried eating, and well, she did 3.5 hearts in one hit. Over time, she started spawning these cloud things and lightning, which was pretty scary. But eventually, I cornered her, and had a super good rhythm going where she couldn't touch me. The fight took so long that it even broke the second sword I picked up in one of the chests, but eventually, I finally took her down, and got an achievement. The Valkyrie Queen dropped a silver key and a golden sword. I don't know what the significance of the sword was, but the key was definitely used for this chest that just opened up in the middle of the room. I used the key to unlock it, and I got insane loot. I got Valkyrie leggings and a chest plate. I got 2 pairs of these boots called Neptune boots, a good amount of these blue gummy things which I had no clue what they did, and even a Valkyrie shovel. I put on all my brand new armor, and my armor bars went to pretty much full health. Now with my new armor, hopefully I had a shot at taking down some of the harder dungeons. Let's see what we're going to explore in day 5. I couldn't stop myself from drinking the poison, but the white apples actually cured me, so I guess that's what they do. There was a reason I decided to drink the poison, and that's because after I did, I got an empty skyroot bucket, and then I could get a water bucket that actually worked. I was tired of saving myself with clouds. I found some more gravitite, but after mining it, I noticed it actually floats to the ceiling. I was running around a bit when I saw a weird tunnel in the mountain. I made my way over, and sure enough, it was a new dungeon. Once again, I tried slaying the cloud monster, but I just couldn't do it. I crept on in, and when I got inside, there was a little guy that spawned behind me, but I took him down. I was about to go inside to fight the main boss, but then I kept setting off traps that spawned more of them, and this one actually exploded this time. I accidentally spawned another one, and I took him down, hopefully without exploding, yes. And then in the main room, there was a giant cube. I tried hitting it with my sword, but the chat said I need a pickaxe. So I hit him with a pickaxe, and well, he woke up. He started attacking me, and well, I wasn't exactly winning the fight. But eventually, I figured out a pattern where he couldn't hit me if I just circled around him. The cube could only travel horizontally, so I just stayed in its diagonals, and I thought I was pretty much safe for the rest of the fight. But then he started going super fast, but I ended up taking him down. I grabbed the key and opened the chest, and sure enough, there was a lot of items that I did not have. There were lightning knives, agility capes, and other golden gummy things that I didn't know what it did, but I grabbed this shield and put it on. It ended up putting a transparent piece of armor around me, so I'm assuming I was more protected. I grabbed the agility cape and put it on as well. I tried running around and it looked pretty cool, but I didn't really know what it did. But I figured out I could just run up blocks without jumping. I grabbed a lightning knife and, well, it spawns lightning. So I figured they'd be useful, and I grabbed all of them, along with these gummy things. Not only did I look super cool, but I think I was geared enough to take on the island dungeon in day 6. Today was the day to take down the island dungeon. First, I had to get some better gear, so I made a block called an enchanter, and this allowed me to smelt my gravitite ore. These ores took so long to smelt, probably 2 minutes per ore. While that was going on, I made a giant staircase up to the island. I crafted a gravitite sword and helmet, and I just hoped this would be enough to take on the final boss of the Aether. And then I just found this sheep kind of floating in midair, but I had to let him go. I made my way up to the dungeon, and I hoped I was ready to face the boss. I put out all the fires just to make sure though. I couldn't hit him at all, so I decided to talk with him, and he didn't really like me, so he started throwing fireballs at me. I couldn't hit him or deflect the fireballs back at him, but occasionally he would throw an ice ball, and when I hit him with it, it damaged him. He didn't do much damage himself, but the catch was that whenever I hit him with an ice ball, he spawned a mini version of himself, and the mini version actually started to attack me and set me on fire. The mini version actually did far more damage than the actual Sun Spirit, but when I almost died, I used some of those gummies I got in the other dungeon and they just healed me to full health. But so far, I was surviving much better than the other dungeons. The entire fight lasted about 20 minutes and it took a long time to actually aim the ice balls and hit him successfully. But I survived and I kept hitting ice balls back at him, and this doesn't even account for all the shots I missed. Eventually, I timed it perfectly for the finishing hit, and I defeated the Sun Spirit. This was the final boss of the Aether, and I grabbed the golden key and opened the chest, and there was quite a bit of loot waiting for me. First, I got a vampire blade, which had the same amount of damage as my gravitite sword. I got gravitite gloves and phoenix boots, which seemed pretty good. And then I got some random things such as an iron bubble and a life shard. After putting on all my armor, I looked pretty sick. After surviving for this long, it was time to settle down and make myself a home. It was time to settle down and build my house. I got a lot of wood and stone and started making the foundation. My time here in the Aether was coming to an end, and I wanted to finish off my experience with a very nice looking house. I wanted to go for a medieval style roof, and it looked pretty good. I ended up smelting quicksoil for some cool looking glass. And then I made a small little stone window for the top floor. I wanted to spice up the walls a bit, so I made some planters with some trapdoors. I put stone walls on the corners of each of the roof blocks, and while this was a small detail, it actually looked really nice. I finished off the planters by putting in flowers. I built a small chimney on the roof and added some decorations to the front of my house. After putting in the glass, I feel like it added a really nice touch. I was just about done and I noticed one of the saplings in my planters grew into my house, but then I thought this looked really good, so I just decided to replace the block with wood, and it turned out very nice. I decorated upstairs a bit, and I went outside to gaze upon my beautiful house. This was the end of my time in the Aether, and it was time to settle down in the house I built. I put all of my items away in the chest, and I went out to watch the sunrise on a beautiful land. To think a week ago this all started with me trying to prove a myth, but the adventure was over. I could rest now.